And now the starting lineups. First for the visitors from North Park, at guard, a 5'10 junior out of Chicago, number 0, Jerome Smith Jr. At guard, a 6'2 senior out of Chicago, number 3, William Bates. At guard, a 6'1 junior out of Hanover Park, number 4, Mike Vukovic. At guard, a 6'2 senior out of Richmond, number 5, Colden Van Landingham. And at forward, a 6'6 junior out of West Palm Beach, Florida, number 21, Lazario Cornish. The Vikings are coached by Edwin McGee, who's assisted by Aaron Jacobs, Jalen Boyd, Mark Smith, and Andres Marmolejo. And now, Wheaton College fans, on your feet, the starting lineup for your Wheaton College Thunder. At guard, a 6'5 sophomore out of Caledonia, number 4, Kyan Vanderwood. At guard, a 6'3 sophomore out of Westerville, number 12, Jevin Martin. At guard, a 6'3 junior out of Northfield, number 20, Soren Richardson. At guard, a 6'8 freshman out of Tempe, number 34, Carson Greer. And at forward, a 6'6 freshman out of Lone Tree, Colorado, number 35, Brady Winya. Wheaton College is coached by Mike Schauer, who's assisted by associate head coach JP John Tanner and Timothy Watts.
And alongside the Swiss Army knife, Drew Swisson, I'm Aiden Kong. And Drew, what are you looking forward to in tonight's match?
I'm so excited to be here with you this afternoon, Aiden. For North Park, it's going to be all about starting out strong. Their last 4 games, they've been down double digits at halftime, including their last game against Augustana. They were down 19 at halftime, but they only ended up losing by 5 points. So they can play a hard second half. It's up to North Park whether they'll decide to come out hard and play strong in the first half. And for Wheaton, it's all about the defense. This North Park offense is the highest scoring offense in the CCIW. So if Wheaton can lock in on defense, that'll make an interesting game, Aiden.
North Park averaging 87 points per game. Also good enough to be 21st in all of Division III. Cornish and Carson Greer at the center for the Thunder and the Vikings. And let's roll from King Arena. Wheaton just had their 3-game winning streak snapped against the Illinois Wesleyan Titans on Saturday. They did not play on Wednesday. They were idle. Coming to this game 10-6, 4-3 the CCIW, currently 4th place in the conference.
And this is a really interesting look from North Park, a 3-2 zone. Haven't seen them play that before.
Devin Martin launches a 3 and connects from downtown.
And going back to the game against Augustana, North Park was down by 10 points within 3.5 minutes of that game. They let Augustana open up a 10-0 run. We'll see if that trend continues here.
Van Lanningham, dump off, Cornish, no foul, and here comes Wheaton the other way. Vanderwood rumbling forward, and he'll bang it in.
North Park likes to play a fast-paced game, but so does Wheaton. Both these teams got high-flying offenses.
North Park coming into this game 10-7, 3-5 in the CCIW. Said they lost to Augustana. They are on the midst of a 4-game losing streak. Looking to snap it this afternoon as Colton Van Lanningham has his first field goal of the night.
And that's a shifty look from Van Landingham. Didn't have a great angle, but somehow made it work. That's what great scorers will do.
North Park press gets through. They had their first takeaway of the afternoon. Mike Vukovic wide open on a corner 3, and he airballs it.
And he usually hits those, but that turnover from North Park, they're great. So many of those with that aggressive press. They have the most steals in the CCIW of any team.
Coming in this game averaging 8.8 steals as Carson Greer is fouled by Lazario Cornish.
You saw there, Van Landingham just completely left Greer by himself down in the block. Both Van Landingham and Vukovic went to get Soren Richardson. Now Carson Greer's got a chance for 2 points.
He's averaging 13.8 points per game is Carson Greer, freshman out of Tempe, Arizona. And Drew, he has been nothing but impressive for this Wheaton squad.
Absolutely. I mean, he's leading the team in field goal percentage so far this year, shooting 61% from the field. But it's also been his on-court presence, just him also being able to take care of some of the bigger guys in the other team, not only on offense, but on defense.
And something that Coach Schauer talked about regarding Carson Greer is the IQ, the what he's able to do mentally, being able to court map and all that, brings a lot to this team. And there's a bucket finally for Jerome Smith Jr.
A very nice find from Lazario Cornish. He's the biggest man on the floor right now for North Park. Doesn't mean he can't get a nice dish.
Greer in the paint, he'll shoot, misses everything.
And the Thunder couldn't convert on that one, but you just see how easy it is to get into the lane against North Park. They have the best offense, but also the worst defense, worst scoring defense in the CCIW.
Van Lanningham for three, rims out. Andrew, these are the top 2 scoring offenses in the CCIW, but at the same time, top 2 worst defenses as well.
Yeah, and that just goes up to the nature of how they play. They like to get up and down.
Winga fighting, and he'll grease the cylinder.
And this is North Park's small ball lineup in right now. They don't have Julian Campbell, they don't have Tyven Garrison or Dylan Fuzak. The biggest guy in there right now is Cornish, and he's only 6'6". No one else is taller than 6'2".
And we'll see if Julian Campbell does play. He did not play against the Augustana Vikings last time out. Van Lanningham feeding away. Toilet bowl's out. Fast break for Wheaton. Here comes Brady Winga, and he is stripped by Van Lanningham. It will stay with Wheaton on this end.
And of course, Van Lanningham first in the conference in steals, averaging 2 per game. Carson Greer with the court vision to look up and find Winya there. Winya made the mistake of bringing it down low, though, and Van Lanningham took advantage.
Richardson was fouled, and he will go to the free throw line.
And Wheaton runs that inbounds play for Soren Richardson all the time. North Park was expecting it, but a little too aggressive there on the closeout.
Richardson last time out against IW, 9.7 rebounds and assists. Illinois Wesleyan did a really good job holding this Wheaton offense to really just lows throughout this entire season.
It was some of the most frustrated we've seen Wheaton's offense all year, and North Park's defense is nothing like that, but even though they do get a lot of steals, they still give up 85 points per game. That's quite a lot.
For Soren Richardson, second leading scorer in the CCIW, averaging 21.1 points per game. Also good enough to be 35th in all of Division III. The junior out of Northfield, Minnesota, led the CCIW in scoring a season ago. En route to a first-team All-CCIW and All-Region recognition. North Park swinging around. William Bates fights hard and bangs it home.
And just a beautiful offensive possession from North Park with the ball movement, making an extra pass, taking advantage of the open lane on Wheaton's defensive rotation. And when North Park's offense is working well, it works.
Vanderwood, he'll bang it in himself.
And Wheaton already doing a very effective job of breaking this North Park press. Got quite a few transition opportunities because of it.
Of course, Kyan Vanderwood, a big bright spot last time out against Illinois Wesleyan, as Van Lanningham has the field goal right back.
And you can tell Van Lanningham on that play was a little frustrated because Lazario Cornish took a full extra second to get that ball to him.
And Kyan Vanderwood continuing his hot start, 6 points for Wheaton.
And Wheaton just taking advantage of those fast break opportunities. They're not playing passive at all. They're doing a really good job just attacking the hoop.
Vukovic out of the dunker's corner. Vukovic is blocked by Richardson.
Vukovic, such a crafty scorer, leading North Park with 18.9 points per game this season, but Richardson taking advantage of the size against him, slamming that one away.
Here's William Bates to inbound it for North Park. Smith, 10 on the shot clock. He finds Bates, and he'll go with a reverse layup. Got an early timeout. 15-10. Wheaton leads it by 5. And let's first address the elephant in the room. The last time these two teams played, you got to go back to February 5th of last year. Both of these teams were really on opposite spectrums. North Park, 14-6, 9-2 in the CCIW. They were up there with Illinois Wesleyan and Carthage in terms of being the best teams in the CCIW. Meanwhile, for Wheaton, 3-16, 0-10 in the CCIW. They're on the midst of a 13-game losing streak, the longest losing streak in program history. And then it happens. Soren Richardson does his best Aston Francis impression, 53 points, the third most points in a single game by a Wheaton player. Wheaton snaps their 13-game losing streak. They go 4-2 in their final 6 games. So ending on a bit of a positive note, but meanwhile for North Park, that loss to Wheaton would ultimately kickstart a 6-game losing streak, which resulted in a loss against North Central in the CCIW tournament quarterfinals.
And going back to that last play, we can't just ignore Jerome Smith's crossover on that play. That was nasty. You can go back in the live stream and watch it again.
Martin, that was tipped by Van Lanningham. Here's Kyan Vanderwood, and he draws contact. He's fouled.
Vanderwood is just finding so many opportunities inside, especially off of that press break. That's already the 4th time he's got a wide open look down low, just because North Park hasn't been able to get back in transition.
Kyan Vanderwood, sophomore out of Caledonia, Michigan, averaging nearly 15 points per game. Boy, was he impressive against Illinois Wesleyan, one of the few bright spots, a career high 30 points on 83% true shooting.
Yeah, it was great to see him shooting the ball with confidence in that game. He's not one of Wheaton's top 3-point shooters, but he was letting it rip that night.
Really competing with Kason Lawrence of Illinois Wesleyan in terms of bombing threes, as Kyan Vanderwood had 5 threes in that contest.
Interesting, no substitutions yet for North Park. They're a team that likes to spread the minutes around. I guess Van Lanningham came out just now.
Jerome Smith leaves the 3 short. Reed Olson hustling the other way. Here's Devin Martin sprinting forward, draws the foul, counted and one.
And that was just so impressive, seeing Reed Olson and Devin Martin sprint. Look how fast they were covering ground here on this play, just getting out in front of the defense.
Martin second in the CCIW in assists per game. In fact, you have the top 2 assisters per game in Devin Martin and Colton Van Lanningham, who has the top spot. Martin held to 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists against Illinois Wesleyan. 15 points and 8 assists on 65% true shooting against the Carroll Pioneers a couple of weeks ago, and Wheaton has a 9-point lead.
And this is how North Park's been starting off most of their conference games recently. Like I said, the last 4 games, they've been down by double digits in the first half. They just get off to a really slow start, especially on defense.
Campbell, who's in the game, draws a foul. I think it's going to go against Brady Winya.
And Campbell could be a matchup problem for these Thunder. Not only is he 6'8", but he's also 280 pounds. Wheaton is going to have to work really hard to keep him out of the paint.
Don't forget, he also has that stretch 5 ability, shooting at about 32%, which is quite solid. Just you have a bunch of elite shooters in the CCIW that are well ahead.
Campbell will shoot the 3. You can't just ignore him from beyond the arc.
But as we said before, and you mentioned this a lot, North Park, they just have a lot of issues in the first half. As they trail by 19 against Augustana. I think we got ourselves a technical foul. That's why Soren Richardson's shooting a 1-shot tech.
I kind of missed what happened there. I didn't see it.
Hopefully our producer who is talking to our earphones could maybe explain. So according to our producer, there was someone who was not listed who just got put into the game. That's what we think it is.
That would be number 25, Marquise Vance, since all the other players were already in.
Vukovic, that's a travel, didn't take a shot at all.
Richardson doing a nice job locking down Vukovic on defense. Vukovic has had some impressive games so far this season, including 38 points. That's his season high, but it's going to take stops like those for Wheaton on defense to clinch this game against North Park.
Yeah, 38 points against Alma on November 12th of last year. Nabs using the screen, guarded by Marquise Vance. 8 on the shot clock for Reed Olson.
This is some nice on-ball defense from North Park. Wheaton can't find anything.
Richardson thought about the step back 3. He'll muscle forward. It got blocked by Julian Campbell, and a 30-second violation.
And looking at this play, I thought Richardson could have pulled the 3 there. Then again, Marquise Vance could have contested that shot pretty well. Just some solid defense from North Park. Got to give them credit for that one.
Vukovic getting down low, guarded by Winger, puts up the shot, he missed. Campbell tries to put it back in, and a teardrop it goes.
Yeah, they got the switch off that screen, so Vukovic was on Brady Winya, and when Vukovic missed that shot, there was no one there to box out Campbell.
As we said, Julian Campbell did not play against Augustana. At 24 points, 13 rebounds against Cornell. Ball will stay with Wheaton.
I'm loving the defensive effort from 25 from North Park, Marquise Vance right now. That's exactly what this Vikings team needs to kickstart the defense. They've already given up 20 points, not even halfway through the first half.
Kyan Vanderwood takes it, rims out. Who's it going to go with? It looks like it's Wheaton ball still.
I don't love that shot from Vanderwood. It was on the designed play, but it was pretty heavily contested.
Wheaton right now 6 of 8 from the field. North Park 6 of 13 early on in the first half. Vanderwood twirls forward and he'll bang it in.
His slashing ability has really leveled up this year. Just his drive to get into the paint and finish any way possible.
9 points for Kyan Vanderwood. Campbell denied by Brady Winya.
Winya's got a long wingspan.
Pass intended for Kyan Vanderwood, and Wheaton bailed out.
And once again, I keep saying Marquise Vance's name on defense here. He's just disrupting these passes and getting in the way. The rest of the Vikings could learn from what he's doing right now.
Freshman out of Chicago, Illinois, Marquise Vance, who has started in 12 games. Vanderwood, it falls for him.
I'm not sure how that one got in. Just an off-balance shot, but Vanderwood's so talented at getting those ones to fall.
12-point lead for Wheaton. Julian Campbell bounces out, as Tyven Garrison could not gather the D-board.
Probably not the shot you want to see if you're North Park. Campbell can shoot the three, but they probably need a higher percentage shot.
Wing a bit of a mismatch, and he's fouled by Ja'Kai Gray.
North Park not too happy about that one. Definitely looks like that was a bit of a hold/grab there, though.
Greer, good play call, but he couldn't finish.
Nice defensive contest. It looks like that was number 2 from North Park, Tyven Garrison.
Campbell leaves the ball on the ground, and Greer tips it to Luca Carbonaro. North Park turnover number 3. Greer puts up the shot and bangs it home.
You could tell he wanted to make up for that last layup that he missed. And that was a lot tougher of a shot, but he got it to go.
4 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal for Carson Greer the last time out against Illinois Wesleyan. Vukovic a 3, drains the triple.
Vukovic, again, just such a crafty player, going the opposite way that Kyan Vanderwood thought he would go, getting a wide open 3, knocking it down.
12 points, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists for Mike Vukovic last time out against the Augie Vikings. Shot 44% on true shooting in that contest. Olsen for 3. Boom goes the dynamite.
And Wheaton just on fire right now from the field. They're shooting 10 for 14.
Marquise Vance will launch. Misses.
And North Park has actually made a lot more three-pointers than Wheaton this season, but the difference is the percentage. North Park's only shooting 33%, while Wheaton shoots 38%.
And also a big difference, the fact that North Park attempts nearly 29 threes a game, which leads the CCIW. Wheaton's about 5th or 6th.
Exactly. They're a team that loves to get up and down, just jack up shots, go as fast as possible. And right now, Wheaton's winning that game of running up and down the floor and creating shot opportunities.
Yeah, they're 10 of 14 from the field at 71%. North Park 7 of 17 at 41%. Through nearly halfway through the first half. Vanderwood harassed. Under 11 minutes to play. Greer puts up the shot, and he'll shiver it home.
And North Park is just having a lot of trouble matching up individually against Wheaton.
Tyven Garrison rolls out. Cornish able to grease the cylinder.
The physicality there from Cornish is something North Park is going to need. Fighting to get that offensive board. Good effort.
First field goal for Lazario Cornish, junior out of West Palm Beach, Florida, who went to Spoon Rivers College. Richardson for three, drains the triple.
And there's that basketball IQ that you were talking about with Carson Greer. Faking the Vikings out so that two defenders went one way. He then was able to drive into the lane, kick it out to Richardson for a wide open three.
First field goal for Soren Richardson as Cornish. That three is well off.
And you look at that play there, both Tyven Garrison and Jerome Smith went for the ball handler. I think Greer was able to go in, but make the extra pass to Richardson for the easier shot.
Marquise Vance at the free throw line. As we said, freshman out of Chicago, Illinois, averaging 11.1 points per game, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals and a block against the Augustana Vikings. And something that Coach McGee talked about specifically in the Hoopsville podcast, the fact that they're looking for guys who can compete right away. And they have that guy, Marquise Vance, despite only being a freshman.
Yeah, well, you look at their roster, Colden Van Landingham is going to be gone next year. Vukovic is a junior. They're definitely looking for that young talent that they can get, similar to what Wheaton has got in these past couple of years.
Richardson. Three won't go, and Carson Greer somehow fights for his own offensive rebound. Richardson again hits the triple.
And I'm just looking at the scoreboard right now. Right now, Wheaton is on pace for 148 points tonight.
Wheaton's up by 18 as a timeout is taken on the court. Let's first start off with Wheaton. Coach Schauer, 17th season with Wheaton, 413 wins as a coach if you include his time at Gordon College as well as Eastern. He is one of 28 active Division III men's basketball head coaches with 410 wins. This Wheaton team, as we said before, last 2 years, not really that good. Last place finishes in the CCIW and just being irrelevant. However, this year, Wheaton has a chance to do something special.
Absolutely, and it's just been so great to see them turn it around. And North Park's in the midst of something similar. Last season, they started off conference play 4-0, which was the first time they did that since the 1982 to 1983 season where they won a national championship.
And of course, North Park, you talk about the national champions, they have 5 national championships. As some North Park fans would say, back in the good old days, three-peat from 78 to 80, and then they won one in 85 and 87, haven't won one since. That being said, made it to the NCAA tournament a couple of seasons ago, the same year that Wheaton also went to the NCAA tournament. North Park lost in the Sweet 16, Wheaton lost in the Elite 8.
And other than that year, North Park has only had one plus 500 season since the 2016 to 2017 season, and that was last season, so they're also a team on the turnaround.
Vikings, though, trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. Started out this season somewhat promising, but honestly, they could have lost 5 straight because one of the games that they did win was the North Central game where they trailed by as many as 18 points, but still came back in overtime against Coach Kamick's crew.
And they were down 13 at the half in that game.
William Bates was on the ground. There's no jump ball. 8 on the shot clock for Jakai Gray. Gray, mid-range J, too strong, and Cornish fights for the rebound, but it's taken away by Carson Greer. Here's Christian Veers for Wheaton. Veers with a layup, leaves it short, and there's a foul.
And North Park on the offensive side of things, well, first we'll take a look at this play. Again, the Thunder getting up the floor. Veers might have got a little build out there. There wasn't too much contact, but Jakai Gray definitely got in the way. But you look at the offensive side of the floor for North Park, it just seems like they're not taking a lot of high percentage shots. They have a lot of talented players, but they're not making the best use of those players because they're kind of just taking the first shot that shows up.
Christian Veers, sophomore at LaGrange, Kentucky, appearing in his 9th game. Somewhat got a lot of playing time at the start of the season and then has been on the bench, but looks like Coach Schauer is going back to him as he knocks down the second free throw.
And already a 20-point lead for Wheaton. North Park, once again, for the 5th game in a row, has dug themselves into a bit of a hole here. We'll see if they'll be able to climb out a little bit before this first half comes to a close.
Did it touch Vukovic? It did not. Vikings retain possession. But this is a team that has an average in this losing streak, an average halftime deficit of 18 points. And they have given up an average of 89 points in this losing streak. Shot in the way and a foul. Marquise Vance, it should send him to the charity stripe.
That was a nice drive as Kyle Nebbs just opened his hips right up. If you're playing defense, your job is to keep your guy out of the lane, and Marquise Vance saw the opportunity. Kyle Nebbs opened right up. He took it. And then if you look at North Park, if you watch some of their past games, there's a marked difference between how they look in the first half versus how they look in the second half. In the second half, they're a lot more urgent. They have more energy. They play a lot more efficiently. But in the first half, they almost seem a little lethargic. So if I'm looking at North Park, I'm thinking they need to come into the game with the mentality that they're already down 20 and they'd be a lot better of a ball team.
Well, right now they trail by 18, does the Vikings. Martin, nice dump-off pass, but it's taken away. And here comes William Bates. Vance, layup, good.
It was a good try for the Thunder on that pass there. But nice defensive instinct from William Bates, and that's what North Park will do. They lead the CCIW in steals. They'll get a turnover, quickly convert it to points on the opposite end.
First field goal for Marquise Vance. That now puts him at 6 points in this ball game. Nine on the shot clock for Vanderwood. Guarded by William Bates. Vanderwood twirls inside and lays it in.
Vanderwood picking up where he left off from last game. He's the first player in double digits this game with 11 points, shooting 5 for 6 from the field.
Bates rises up, swishes it.
North Park starting to settle into things on offense here.
Leading scorer for the Vikings, Marquise Vance, who has 6 points. Vikings 9 of 22 from the field, 41%. Reed Olson unable to hit, veers the O-board, and he's able to lay it in.
And Veers was just all by himself after he got that rebound. All the North Park defenders were already running towards the other side. One left to one guy down there to rebound.
Bates will actually take the three, bounce it out.
And that's what I'm talking about for North Park. Just an early shot in the shot clock, not one of their top shooters. Just a low percentage shot.
He was absolutely denied by Cornish.
I like that pass there by Vukovic on the fast break, a little behind the back, leading his man.
Vukovic, 11 on the shot clock. Lazario Cornish bangs it in.
And that defense was fine by Wheaton there on that possession. Just a nice play by Cornish, getting to the rim with a tough finish through the contact.
4 points now for Lazario Cornish. Vanderwood. And it will stay with Wheaton, almost turned it over.
And it's interesting how North Park started the game in that 3-2 zone. It's pretty rare to see zones in the CCIW. And now they've shifted back to man defense. I wonder if going back to that zone might throw Wheaton off a little more, slow down their offense.
And it looks like we got a holding foul of some kind.
That'll send Greer to the line. That was in the paint. Greer was trying to get open under the hoop. Cornish now has 2.
As we said before about Carson Greer, in high school at Valley Christian, won the state title in basketball every single year alongside his twin brother, Kyle Greer, as this is a 1-and-1 and it misses.
And that's been the Achilles heel for Greer so far this season. He's only shooting 21 for 42 from the free throw line, which is a perfect 50%.
Horns look for North Park. As it looks like North Park turns it over. William Bates and Jerome Smith Jr. were not on the same page.
I'm curious to why Colden Van Landingham hasn't been in for North Park for a while. He averages 32 minutes a game, but he got subbed out early on in this first half, and we haven't seen him since.
He's only played in 5 minutes as Van Landingham. They dump it off to Carson Greer, and he'll grease the cylinder.
I love to see that from Soren Richardson. Just the patience, drawing two men, but waiting to make that nice wraparound pass and find Greer for the easy two.
Third field goal for Carson Greer. He's at 8 points. Meanwhile, Soren Richardson, 9 points and an assist. Campbell, and it's taken away by Vanderwood. Kyan Vanderwood lays it up and in. 15 points for Kyan Vanderwood.
And he's just unstoppable right now. He drives into the lane. No matter what he throws up, it'll be going in.
As we said, he had a career high 30 points against Illinois Wesleyan and has just continued to stay hot as William Bates leaves the shot short. Vanderwood bangs it in.
And now the Thunder have their biggest lead of the game, 22 points, already almost 50 in the half. And we mentioned earlier in the game, this is a battle between the top two scoring offenses in the CCIW, and right now the Thunder are winning easily.
Campbell with yet another turnover. Carson Greer, he wants a layup. Carbonaro with the offensive rebound. He'll bang it back in. Timeout taken by Coach McGee.
And you see the Thunder there. They had guys swarming in to get that rebound. We saw a lot of North Park defenders just jogging back, assuming that first layup was going to go in. And that's part of the reason why they've fallen into these first half deficits. Just not a lot of hustle there.
8-0 run in favor of Wheaton with 4:43 left to go for the North Park Vikings. A little bit different of a head coaching matchup in the sense that Coach McGee is only in his second season with North Park. Last year, I mean, excluding the 6-game losing streak that they had and a quote-unquote disappointing end to the season, North Park still had a relatively solid season the last couple of years, and Coach McGee, he's looking to continue it entering a second year.
Absolutely, and that was without Colden Van Landingham, who is the leading scorer in the North Park team that made it to the Sweet 16 back in the 22-23 season. So you'd assume they'd be even better this year, but hasn't quite been the case.
That being said, North Park did lose Rico Powell from a season ago, who was a first-team All-CCIW player, and also lost Lance Nelson, their three-point sniper, alongside a slew of other players like T.J. Gardner, Tajon Berry, John Gaines, Preston Bax, and G.J. Wallace. Don't forget Devontae Robinson. 9 on the shot clock. Ja'Kai Gray for three. In and out.
North Park's having a tough time from beyond the three-point line right now. They're only shooting 1 for 10.
Meanwhile, Wheaton is 4 of 6 from downtown. Pick and pop. Here's Carson Greer. Oh, what a dunk! Carson Greer brings down the tomahawk!
And that'll get the crowd going for sure. And there was just no resistance for Greer, able to drive into the lane, slam it down with authority. You look at this play here. Just completely got Campbell on the closeout. If you're closing out and someone like that, you gotta get low, shuffle your feet. Campbell just ran right at him and Greer took advantage.
Smith using the Fuzak screen, uses it again. Marquise Vance almost turned it over. 10 on the shot clock. Fuzak, I think, he stepped on the line, and he did. That's the 7th turnover for North Park.
And some solid defense there by Luca Carbonaro. And North Park had some nice offensive possessions early on in this game where they were able to move the ball and get some quality looks, but they just haven't been able to recreate that so far. And I think that's been more on them than Wheaton's defense.
Looks like another zone. Dump off, Winga, down low, finds Kyan Vanderwood, and somehow he gets the layup out of all people.
And maybe that's why North Park switched from their zone to their man. The Thunder were easily able to pick that apart with their passing.
Vukovic, layup is good.
And he's one of the guys the Vikings are going to have to rely on. Just so quick with that first step to get to the hoop.
And that pass picked up by Mike Vukovic.
And that was a lazy pass by Vanderwood. Cross-court pass like that, you gotta put some zip on it.
Under 3 minutes to go. Wheaton 12-2 run as Vukovic. They will stay on this end. North Park ball. And Drew, as you said, Colton Van Landingham is still on the bench. Doesn't look like any movement that he's going to get up.
Yeah, he's wearing a warm-up shirt, and it doesn't look like he's injured. Otherwise, he would be getting treated right now.
Fuzak misses a three, but the putback by Jerome Smith Jr.
Shout out to Jerome Smith Jr. only 5'11", but able to pick up that offensive board. That's on the Thunder for not boxing out, finding a body.
24-point deficit for North Park. But they've been in this hole many times, as seen with Elmhurst and Augustana. And Carson Greer, that's what they're going to call a travel, and they finally do.
You never want to leave your feet without having a plan. And Greer just unable to find any of his teammates there on that play.
Cusack, handoff to Vukovic. Nearly under 2 minutes to play. Three ball is blocked. Athletic move by Luca Carbonaro blocking Ja'Kai Gray.
That would have been an amazing opportunity for a pump fake from Ja'Kai Gray. But Carbonaro coming out of nowhere. Gray just didn't see it coming.
Jerome Smith Jr. to inbound it. Under 2 minutes to go, 8 on the shot clock. Cusack, they fake the handoff. Marquise Vance rejects the screen and will lay it in.
Vanderwood was anticipating that he would go up, further up court. But just a nice play from Vance to read the defender, glide in for the layup.
Richardson for three. In and out.
The Thunder just getting any look they want. That game against Illinois Wesleyan, Richardson would have never been that open.
Offensive foul is going to be called against Dylan Fusak.
Yeah, it looks like he just extended his arm a little bit. Didn't move his legs too much. With the upper body movement there, that's why the refs called it.
Richardson able to score. One of 3 players for Wheaton in double figures, leading scorer Kyan Vanderwood at 19 points. Vukovic lost the ball and it will stay with North Park.
And the Thunder have been doing a nice job of forcing North Park to kind of have some sloppy plays. They've got 8 turnovers so far this game. They are the leading team in the CCIW with turnovers, but they also force the most. Haven't been able to do that against Wheaton, though.
Smith for 3, off the mark. Under a minute to go from King Arena. Wheaton 4-3 the CCIW. North Park 3-5 as the Vikings looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. Richardson turns on the dime, but he's blocked by Vance. Gets it right back. Fusak might have blocked it.
It's surprising to see Richardson not finish those, but good defensive effort from the Vikings.
Vukovic back outside, almost turns it over. Vance to Vukovic in the paint. Thought he stepped out of bounds as Ja'Kai Gray has the layup.
I couldn't tell from this angle, but North Park able to create something out of nothing there on the offensive possession.
Wheaton can hold for the last shot. Up by 22 points. Richardson guarded by Marquise Vance. 5 to shoot. Martin inside. Unable to go. Vukovic, one more. And he'll brick it and set 57-35. North Park in the same position for essentially the 3rd time in a row. Drew, what must North Park do to get back into this ball game?
I mean, it starts on the defensive end. You're never going to win a game if you're the Vikings by letting Wheaton the Thunder to have all the open shots that they have. If you look at those stats there, 65% from the field, 57% from 3. Sure, Wheaton's a great shooting team, but that doesn't just happen. That's due to North Park's just lack of defensive effort. And then for Wheaton, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. They're doing a great job.
And we'll bring you the start of the second half after these messages and a word from the CCIW Network.
All from Wheaton come to us alongside Wheaton men's basketball great Andrew Johns. And here we go. Rebound, the finish. Number 4. Rebound and jumper is good. Number 1 ties it at 2. Yes, the answer. Number 4 for White, and they lead 4-2. White leads 4-2, a chance to add to that, 6-2. Red, though, is now back to 5. 5 versus 5 now. They've been down a man. Out of bounds. Red basketball underneath. A lot of contact, no call there. Block! 2 more. 8-2 White, if I've got the score right. Red basketball. Rebound White, here they go. Steal. Steal for 30. Tough rebound in there.
See if I can work that in the second half. You should write that down.
Step back.
I got it. What's that?
Here comes Red.
Honestly, this game's great. Everyone's getting so hyped to do it. The only problem is the red team lost. Oh no, red team players back. Yeah. We're playing pretty well though. Yeah, oh yeah. We're
Yes! Nothing but net for 30.
Best offensive team in the CCIW. And they're shooting 1 for 3.
They've been doing our offensive rebounds. Yeah. Wait, but how much? What's our offensive rebounds number?
We have 5. They actually have more. They have 7 and 5. So like we're shooting 1 for 13 from 3.
What?
We're shooting 1 for 13 from 3. We're shooting 4 for
1 for 13, that's terrible. Yeah, but also like some people living fast break points.
And that's your final. Let's hear it for the FCA Warriors basketball. Hopefully in a few years we'll have a few of them playing here for Wheaton College.
The thing is though, North Park always comes back in the second half.
Every corner of Wheaton College holds a story of growth. The Wheaton Fund is at the heart of these stories, transforming lives for Christ and His kingdom. The Wheaton Fund is more than just financial support. It is the financial lifeblood of Wheaton College, empowering every aspect of our mission. Your contributions to the Wheaton Fund ensure that the students, faculty, and staff have the resources they need to thrive and make an impact for Christ. Your contributions assist in supporting spiritual formation through chapel and small groups, providing financial aid through need-based and academic scholarships, enriching faculty with competitive salaries and development opportunities, enhancing career development through the Center for Vocation and Career, equipping athletics with essential resources, strengthening campus ministries with training, support staff, and mission opportunities, improving facilities to create a better learning environment, and enhancing academic services to support every student's education. By supporting the Wheaton Fund, you help shape the future of Wheaton College and its students. Join us in empowering the next generation of Wheaties to build the church and benefit society.
This isn't a traditional college orientation. It's a rite of passage. You're entering a new season of life where the terrain is unfamiliar, the path uncharted, the friendships not yet formed.
You ready?
It's a time to explore, to learn new skills, to build connections, embrace uncertainty, navigate challenges, and discover your limits. But never alone, because together you'll walk alongside Him.
All right, you ready?
This is so much more than a college orientation. You're becoming a new person in a new season, one of adventure, transition, and Christ-centered community. So consider this your invitation to Wheaton Passage.
You ready?
You're ready.
When I came to Wheaton, I felt welcome. I felt the students loved one another. This was a place where I can really see myself growing. It just felt like home.
Wheaton will make you aware of how important community is.
I couldn't feel alone because people were just always around me, encouraging me.
When people are connected with others, you can't help but be joyful.
Wheaton will help you grow in your relationship with Jesus.
I get to learn things through the lens of my faith.
Wheaton will surprise you.
Wheaton students are really focused on excellence, all framed within the view of service.
To be here where it's okay to ask the hard questions, I think has kept me walking with the Lord.
We're called to be servant leaders as Christians just because anything that we gain on this earth is not our personal gain. It's all because of Jesus.
Wheaton matters because we will produce students who are more like Jesus than when they first came into college.
There's so many essential pieces of what it means to be human encapsulated here at Wheaton.
What makes Wheaton home, for me at least, is really just the people.
The people I met here made Wheaton home.
It actually feels like home.
It just felt like home.
Wheaton will feel like home.
Wheaton will change your life. Get comfortable. This place is amazing.
Welcome back to the start of the second half between the Wheaton Thunder and the North Park Vikings. Wheaton, they're up by 22. Offensively, they were just excellent.
Absolutely, Aiden. They shot an astonishing 64.7% from the field in the first half. We take a look at some of the replays here. Reed Olson pulling up from three. The Thunder shot 4 for 7, but they weren't even relying on the three. Most of their points came in the paint. There's Richard sitting, hitting a three. He's got 11 on the night. One of 3 Thunder players in double digits. There he is again, wide open for that one. This is going to be a Carson Greer dunk. Getting around Julian Campbell, slamming it down. He has 10 points. The leading scorer for the Thunder tonight is Vanderwood with 19, and there's a nice defensive play from Luca Carbonaro.
And it seems like for North Park, it's the same thing the last 3 times where they trail by as many as 20-plus points at some point, and then they make a big surge in the second half. What does North Park have to do?
Well, as I mentioned at the end of the first half last time, it starts in the defensive end. They got to start getting stops. And if you're the Thunder, you cannot count the Vikings out of this matchup yet. Last time when they played Augie, they were down 19.5. They only lost by 5 points.
Backdoor cut, and there's Colton Van Lanningham. We were questioning him in the first half as he only played 5 minutes. He's back already in the second.
I wonder if that was just a coaching thing, maybe trying to discipline him or something like that for something in the first half. We don't really know, but he's back and he's dangerous.
Greer navigates down low, misses the shot. The 120th matchup between Wheaton and North Park. Van Lanningham draws the foul.
And he's so quick, and you saw there the Vikings had a 4-on-3 advantage. Lanningham able to turn Vanderwood around, get to the hoop, draw the foul.
Colton Van Lanningham, one of 2 preseason All-Americans in the CCIW. Of course, the other one, Soren Richardson. Specifically this matchup, there were other preseason All-Americans like Ryan Johnson and Josh Fridman from the other teams. Of course, Colton Van Lanningham, probably the most I don't want to say the most famous game this season, but it has to be Cornell. 11 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, triple-double for Colton Van Lanningham. He is one of 11 Division III players this season to have a triple-double.
And he's just a really talented player in terms of making plays with steals and assists. The leading stealer and assister of the CCIW so far this year.
It's also the 4th time North Park has had a player who's recorded a triple-double, and the 8th CCIW player to accomplish that same feat. 7 on the shot clock. Richardson, guarded by Bates. Richardson, ISO matchup. Soren Richardson fades away. Toilet bowl's out. And Vanderwood somehow has the offensive rebound. Winga, mid-range J, leaves it short. And I think we got a foul against Cornish.
And the Thunder just hustling to get those offensive rebounds. Love to see it there, getting those extra shot opportunities.
Carson Greer lays it up and in.
And the Thunder have some really effective inbound plays. They have that one with Greer. That's been able to get them some points so far tonight. And also one with Soren Richardson coming out for a three-pointer.
Off the zoom action for William Bates. Van Lanningham slices forward, tries to dump it off to Vance, and it's going to be a turnover, though, for North Park.
And Van Lanningham so effective at drawing 2 or more defenders, then dishing it off. But Brady Wunya there able to get his hands in the way. Dylan Fuzak, in for North Park, trying to get some size in this lineup. I also believe Cornish has 3 fouls, so looks like they're trying to keep him out of foul trouble.
Thunder, they shot 22 of 34, from the field. 65%. North Park was the team that shot 15 of 35 at 43%.
You see a lot more energy from the Vikings here on the defensive side of things.
Vanderwood for 3, sprays it in.
And I tell you, he is picking up from where he left off last game. He's already got 22 points on the night.
As we said at the top of the first half, had a career-high 30 points against the Illinois Wesleyan Titans. It was one of the few bright spots for Wheaton in that loss last week on Saturday. Vukovic, thought about driving it inside. Van Lanningham fires a 3 and leaves the 3 short. Carson Greer, Euros inside, bounces out. It'll be North Park ball.
And I love the hustle there from Marquise Vance for North Park. He turned that 2-and-1 fast break into a 2-on-2 and forced Carson Greer into a tougher shot just by his hustle getting back.
Vukovic. One more pass. Marquise Vance for 3, sprays it in.
And that's another area where if the Vikings are going to win this game, like you were saying at the start of the second half, Aiden, one of the ways they're going to have to do that is by hitting 3s. They're only 1 for 13 in the first half.
So on the shot clock, Vanderwood was fouled.
Yeah, Van Lanningham was holding a little bit and just creating a lot of unnecessary contact. Just one time too many there.
They feed it to Soren Richardson. Richardson able to bang it in, and a timeout is taken. 64-42, the Wheaton Thunder are up by 22 points. For those who don't know, the Bevo Francis Award watch list was just announced. This award is somewhat similar to the Jostens Trophy, except the Bevo Francis Award can be given to any player that comes from a small college, so Division II players do count. That being said, 4 players from the CCIW were named to the top 100 watch list. Ryan Johnson of Carthage, Noah Cleveland of Illinois Wesleyan, and then 2 players from North Park, Colton Van Lanningham and Mike Vukovic. I don't know about you, but I'm a little surprised that there were certain players also from the CCIW who were excluded from that list.
Soren Richardson, I'm a little surprised too, Aiden. I saw that list when it came out, and I was scrolling through the list hoping to see Soren Richardson. Didn't see him on there. Of course, you got to give credit to the 4 players that are on there. They're all excellent players and nothing against them, but Richardson is certainly on their level just from his statistical output last season and also this season.
Now, regarding that award, Aston Francis, I know him. I heard he was an okay player for Wheaton. Did win it in 2019 alongside a slew of other awards, like the Jostens Trophy. But that watch list will get narrowed down as we climb towards the end of that season. The North Park team that is currently on a mess of a 4-game losing streak. They're looking to snap it this afternoon against Wheaton, but as we said the last couple of games, they have dug themselves into a massive hole.
Yeah, it's going to take some great efforts from their star players, Vukovic and Van Landingham. It's not going to happen without him.
Vanderwood thought he was fouled as Colton Van Landingham has the field goal.
And Vanderwood now kind of limping back. It looks like he's all right, though. But in that first half for the Vikings, Van Landingham and Vukovic only had a combined 9 points. They've been averaging 33 apiece. No, I'm sorry, 33 combined so far this season per game.
As Marquise Vance, he'll get the N1.
And this is exactly how the Vikings come back. They step up the intensity in the defensive end, create turnovers, convert those points from the fast breaks. And Wheaton dominated that fast breaks category in the first half. They had 11 points off fast breaks. The Vikings only had 2, which is surprising given that they're a team that loves to run the floor and create a lot of turnovers.
Marquise Vance knocks down the free throw. 14 points for Vance. Had a huge game winner against UW-Stevens Point in triple overtime. Also had a career high 32 points against Greenville on 87% true shooting. He's the 3rd freshman to score 30 points in a single game, as he joins Roshan Russell and Juwan Henry, who also had the same feat their freshman years. That's handed off to Richardson. Vance seems to be the one that's picking him up as Soren Richardson, too strong and a foul.
And I'm not sure I like that foul call. I thought Vance did a pretty good job of defending. It looks like he was leaning into him a little bit. Definitely some contact. Vance surprised at the call.
Soren Richardson, 2nd leading scorer in the CCIW, averaging 21.1 points per game. What he did against Millikan, extremely special. 33 points, 6 of 9 from downtown.
And he can post up, he can shoot 3, he can hit the mid-range, he can drive to the hoop. Just such a diverse skill set on offense.
D3 Hoops 15, preseason All-American is Soren Richardson. Mike Vukovic, a collision, and he doesn't get the shot to go.
And now Wheaton has numbers because a lot of North Park players fell down on that last play.
Kyle Nebbs, the 3 rings out.
Nebbs almost never misses that one, and the handles from Van Landingham.
Vukovic tries again, and count it for Mike Vukovic.
And the handles from Van Landingham, the vision to get it up, the scoring ability of Vukovic. And Vukovic has been cold recently. Last 4 games, he's only got 10, 9, 18, and 12 points, which is pretty good. But for someone of his caliber, it's a little lower than usual.
Yeah, he's averaging about 19 points per game, 6 in the CCIW, which fascinating about Mike Vukovic is the fact that a season ago, he was a bench warmer. The guy was playing JV minutes. He only played 7 games last season. And then something that Coach McGee talked about in the Hoopsville podcast is the fact that he put a lot of work in the offseason to get better. And now entering this season, one of the starting guards for North Park.
And he's a key piece to this North Park team, which is why they need him to get going in the second half. They've already brought the deficit back down to 16 after it was 23 at halftime.
Also for Colton Van Landingham, doesn't have Shamar Pumphrey, but perhaps an even better sidekick in Mike Vukovic. 9 on the shot clock for Kyle Nebbs. Richardson for 3. In and out and out.
Rosario Cornish gave Richardson too much space there, but just missed.
Vukovic dazzled. There's no foul. Wheaton, do they save it? No, they don't.
And that was a foul, to be honest. I thought Richardson came down pretty hard on Vukovic. Let's check the replay here. Maybe he got all ball. Officials saw it better than I did.
Gray rejects the screen. Ja'Kai Gray on the reverse layup, but he blows it.
Just an out-of-control finish from Gray there. If he had taken his time, might have been able to get a better shot.
Nebs for three. Won't go.
Wheaton, they were shooting extremely well in the first half. Now they've cooled down a little bit, missed some open shots. An offensive foul there in Van Landingham. Van Landingham attempting to work on Reed Olson. And now Van Landingham has been subbed out. Van Landingham has 4 fouls.
That probably explains why he didn't get so many minutes in the first half as Soren Richardson bangs it home on the 45 cut.
And that's a major blow for this Vikings team. Van Landingham the catalyst for so many offensive possessions.
Instead, North Park likely having run it through Mike Vukovic, who fires a three and buries it.
And he's a guy who can get hot at any time.
11 points for Vukovic, one of 3 players for North Park in double figures alongside Van Landingham and Marquise Vance, who have 10 and 14 respectively. Martin dazzles. Martin, the layup, bangs it home.
And as long as the Thunder keep doing that, it's going to be really tough for the Vikings to get back in this game. Thunder have been able to score at will.
Vikings trail by 17. Vukovic, dump off, and the layup, and the dunk. Lazario Cornish.
And a miscommunication there at the defensive end. A nice job by the Vikings to exploit it.
Third field goal of the day for Cornish. He's at 6 points. Eight on the shot clock. Carbonaro for 3. Won't go.
And Carson Gray and Kyan Vanderwood looking to come in. Sitting by the scorer's table. They'll probably provide a defensive jolt to this other team as the Vikings are getting back into it offensively.
Ja'Kai Gray launches a 3, and he misses. Cornish, does he have the save? No.
And that was part of the problems for the Vikings in the first half. Just probably not the shot you want to see, not the highest percentage shot you can get.
And it looks like Mike Vukovic has some blood on the back of his head. So he's being checked out, this time by the athletic training staff. As Colton Van Landingham, North Park being a little bit risky, he's back in the ball game.
Yeah, and if you're Coach Schauer, you're telling your players, focus on Van Landingham, drive at him, make him play soft, because he knows he has to play passive so he doesn't foul the game.
Wheaton 5 of 13 from the field in the second half. North Park is 7 of 12 at 58%. Under 12 minutes to play in the CCIW showdown between Wheaton and North Park. Vikings looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. Wheaton looking to get back to winning ways after losing to Illinois Wesleyan last Saturday. 6 on the shot clock. Greer harassed and a travel.
And that was well done by the Vikings. Just playing some solid defense, forcing the Thunder out of the lane, and just a lot of dribbling for the Thunder on that possession.
Of course, Wheaton has gone up against a very similar defense as they took on Wisconsin Lutheran, who runs the exact same system. In fact, one of the assistant coaches for Wisconsin Lutheran, Coach Smith, before he became a head coach at North Park, he was at Wisconsin Lutheran. And then he comes to North Park, becomes the head coach. That was the season North Park went to the NCAA tournament. And then Coach Smith took the assistant coach job at South Dakota. And then Coach McGee gets promoted. They're basically run the same thing.
And right now on the court, they're just cleaning up some of the blood that was coming from Vukovic's head. I think it happened on that and one play that he had a couple minutes ago.
Taking a look around the rest of the CCIW, North Central trails against Elmhurst 50-42 at Ore Fagno Hall. Meanwhile, between the Carthage Firebirds and the Augustana Vikings, that's a huge matchup. Carthage has a 13-point lead, 59-46 in the second half with 11:24 to go. And then between Illinois Wesleyan and Carroll, the Pioneers actually have a 41-38 lead against the 13th ranked team in the country.
And that's a defensive battle right there, as opposed to this game. About the same amount of time left. The score of that one's 41-38. Here it's 70-55.
Michael McNabb leading the way with 13 points. Noah Cleveland has 12 points in that contest. And Drew, as we know, for North Park, they can make comebacks in the second half, almost win a ball game as they did against Elmhurst and Augustana. For Wheaton, what do they have to do in order to maintain this lead?
Well, they just got to keep playing the same way they've been playing the entire game. Be aggressive, keep up the energy, and especially on defense, you can't let Colden Van Landingham or Mike Vukovic beat you. Let other players beat you, but not those two guys.
Van Landingham, as we said, is still in the ball game, being paired up with Devin Martin. And after some brief inconvenience and a stoppage of play, we're back in. Vukovic, Jerome Smith, Van Landingham, Vance, and Cornish, I believe, are the guys in the game. Van Landingham, and he's fouled by Devin Martin.
And they're going to count the bucket, too. An NBA level and one there from Van Landingham as he's able to get past Martin. Probably should have been on the floor, but it'll count. And now the Vikings, conditioning on this made free throw, they'll have brought it back down to 12 points.
Free throw's no good. And it looks like Wheaton able to save it. Thunder scoreless in nearly 2 minutes. As we said before, the Vikings capable of comebacks as Vance swats it out of bounds like a bumblebee.
And I've been really impressed by Vance's defense so far for North Park. He's really the only guy that's playing tough on-ball defense. For the Thunder last game when they were playing Illinois Wesleyan, all 5 guys were like that. But for North Park, it's pretty much just Marquise Vance.
He's also the leading scorer offensively with 14 points. Richardson down low. Bates has him. Richardson jabs, 2 to shoot, puts it up. Can't knock it in.
That's the Carmel Anthony bag right there with the jab step and the jumper. That one no good though.
Vance, the floater, it goes for Marquise Vance.
And we've talked a lot about North Park coming back in the second half after being down a lot in the first half. Wheaton has shown a tendency to give up big leads in the second half so far this season, as the Vikings have now brought this game within 10 for the first time since early on in the first half.
That was Mike Vukovic on the layup, 10:38 to go. It's a 9-point lead, only a 3-possession game with 10:38 to go. What do you like about North Park?
I mean, it seems like I just blinked and all of a sudden they go from being down 20 to down 9, and I really like their defense, to be honest. The Thunder are still putting up a lot of points. They have 70 with 10.5 minutes to go, but they've only scored, correct me if I'm wrong, but they had 57 at the start of the first half. They've only scored 13 so far, about halfway through. It's only on pace for 26, which is less than, doing some quick mental math, that's less than half of what they got in the first half. So I think it's really started on the Vikings' defensive end.
In fact, North Park has doubled the points that Wheaton has in the second half, 26-13, and they're also on an 11-2 run in the last 3 minutes and 21 seconds. I don't want to be the old person that says, oh, every game in the CCIW is so important, but for this game, North Park, because they've lost 4 straight, they're currently on the outside looking in of the CCIW tournament at that 7th spot. Reminder, only 6 teams get in. Meanwhile, for Wheaton, they're currently at the 4th spot. Both teams, they want to win this afternoon.
Exactly, and for the Thunder, this is basically the difference between being a good CCIW team if they win and being an average CCIW team if they lose. And there's a big difference going halfway into your conference games between being 5-3 and 4-4.
Wheaton, Elmhurst, and Milken are all at 4 wins in the CCIW. North Park and Carroll have 3 wins, and then North Central has 2 wins. And a couple losses there and there might put you from hosting a CCIW tournament to being completely out as Soren Richardson goes reverse.
Carson Greer with a Great find for Richardson.
19 points. Vukovic was stripped, and they're going to say it's a turnover.
Vukovic has done that a lot. Just drive in and then kind of lose control on the ball, and I don't think a Thunder player even touched it. I think he just went up expecting to get the foul.
So Coach McGee opting to put Vukovic back into the game. Van Lanningham is sitting down with those 4 fouls.
This press for North Park is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, for North Park, it can create a lot of turnovers. We've seen it happen in some previous games. That's how they've been able to close some of these gaps. But on the other hand, it can leave their defense weaker, lead to more transition points for the Thunder.
Oh, did that touch Devin Martin? It looks like it did. Wheaton ball, rather North Park ball, excuse me.
Yeah, the bounce off his foot, out of bounds. And North Park doing what they do best. Again, they cause 15 turnovers per game so far this season. That's the most in the CCIW.
Not sure what the stoppage of play is all about. There we go.
I think they might have called a foul on Soren Richardson there. I saw a motion over the table to number 20. Maybe that happened before the ball went out of bounds.
Vance down the baseline. Comes Cornish, counted and one.
And that was an impressive play. Vance just blowing right by Vanderwood, finding Cornish open. And if you're Vanderwood, you got to foul hard enough so he doesn't make that shot, because he was going to make it anyway if he didn't contest. But Cornish with a tough physical play.
Lazario Cornish coming off his first career double-double against Augustana, and he'll stay with North Park.
And here comes Van Landingham with 4 fouls. Coming in for Vance, which is a little surprising given he's been one of North Park's best players this game, but I guess they're saving him for the end of the game.
The inbound, Vukovic bangs it in. That's a 7-point game. What was once a 22-point deficit. The Vikings might have a lot of energy in this one.
Yeah, and if you let a team come back into the game like this, they have so much momentum that they're even harder to stop. And that's exactly what's happening. The Vikings just have all the momentum in the world. As you mentioned, the run they're on right now, I think it's up to 15-4.
They were not able to close out against Augustana as well as Elmhurst, but did so against North Central, and they were trailing by as many as 18 points on January 3rd. 5 on the shot clock. Richardson. Now it's Olsen. Thought about the 3. He'll launch it from deep. Rims out.
And now the Vikings here with a wide open Marquise Vance. And it looks like Vance came in for Van Landingham. It's probably a good decision. Now the Thunder are just looking really confused here on the court. Having a tough time getting past this newly revamped Vikings defense.
Richardson guarded tightly by Vance, and it looks like he fouled him.
Yeah, that's a foul. Richardson had him on the pump fake, and then Vance had to kind of grab him a little bit there. You'll see it here. A nice find from Devin Martin. Vance had to foul there.
Richardson contacted, and I think they're going to get another foul on Vance.
Yeah, that's probably the right call, and that's now 3 on Vance. So add him to the list of Vikings player in foul trouble along with Van Landingham.
Under 9 minutes to go. Richardson fighting his way hard, puts up the shot, and bangs it home.
And that'll help stop the flow a little bit for the Thunder. They needed a shot like that.
Smith, he's fouled by Reed Olsen.
You got to be careful because both teams are now in the bonus now, so both teams are going to have to watch out for those chippy defensive fouls, and it looks like Vance is out once again, replaced by Van Landingham once again.
Both teams at 6 fouls in the second half. Vukovic steps back, mid-range J, too strong.
And Richardson's been doing a superb job on Vukovic as Wynn just wide open.
Here's Brady Wynja, he'll grace the cylinder.
And Richardson started to take control of this game. First he had the post-up bucket, then the defensive stop. And now finding Brady Wynja, bring this lead back up to 9.
4 points for Wynja, his second field goal of the afternoon. Vukovic slices, he's guarded by Richardson. Van Lanningham playing with those 4 fouls. And Martin fouled him.
I'm not too sure about that one, but you check out this pass from Soren Richardson here. Not sure what the Vikings were doing in defense, but Wynja able to take advantage of a wide open lane. More fast break points for the Thunder.
Should be a 1-and-1 for Colton Van Lanningham.
And the Thunder crowd not too happy about that foul call. It's hard to tell whether that was Devin Martin contacting Van Lanningham or him just falling over.
And he misses the free throw.
And for someone who's so good on offense, Van Lanningham has struggled from the free throw line so far this year. He's shooting only 66%.
What do we have?
And is that on Van Lanningham or is that on Bates? That's going to be on Van Lanningham. He's out of the game.
So Colton Van Lanningham, 12 points, 3 rebounds. That's it for him. And so the risky move to keep him in the game despite those 4 fouls, we'll see if it pays off or not, because he was kind of the spark plug that gave North Park some momentum and the reason why they're packing this ball game and only down by 9.
And honestly, I don't disagree with the decision to keep him in the game by Edwin McGee. That was just a bad decision, knowing you have 4 fouls, but still making the contact there on Devin Martin.
Martin misses the free throw. Olsen for 3. Off the mark.
The Thunder have been ice cold from beyond the arc so far this half. Only 1 for 6.
There's Marquise Vance, and 1 for him.
Marquise Vance has been stepping up in a huge way for the Vikings. And the Thunder just did not get back on defense at all. And Vance able to, with his speed, able to take advantage. He's the Vikings' leading scorer.
And at North Park, you have 3 players who have scored 30 points at one point this season. Marquise Vance, Michael Vukovic, and Colton Van Lanningham all have a 30-point game this season. Greer, dump off. Christian Veers, he missed it. Carson Greer tries to fight it back. Good defense by Vance, and we got a foul.
And that's going to send Brady Wynja to the line. And if you're the Vikings, you cannot foul like that, because it just gives the Thunder free chances. But some nice passing there. And that was just an instance of the Thunder's offense. Just couldn't quite get it in there with Christian Veers and then Carson Greer. Some nice contests from the Vikings.
Brady Wynja to the free throw line. The freshman out of Lone Tree, Colorado, starting in his 11th game. 9 points, 8 rebounds, and a block against Illinois Wesleyan. He is shooting 55% from the free throw line. Second free throw is no good. Cornish gets the defensive rebound.
The free throws are huge in this game. Now within a 7-point deficit, every point counts.
Inside, William Bates lays it in.
And it's the small details. I saw Vukovic calling for the ball there, knowing that the ball wasn't going to him. They had an open teammate down low. Just a nice act of deception from Vukovic.
The Vikings trailed it by as many as 22 points at the half, but 28 points in total. It's a 5-point game. Richardson zips it to Martin. 7 on the shot clock. Hounded by Bates. 4 to shoot. Richardson for 3. Boom goes the Dynamite.
You see Edwin McGee talking to his players saying, hey, we're still in this. But Richardson with a clutch shot. Big player making a big play. He's now at 21 for the night.
And Drew, what does Wheaton have to do to keep the momentum up and to hang on to this one? What does North Park have to do to get back further in this ballgame?
Well, for Wheaton, it's about continuing to play with confidence. They had so much of that in the first half, but they've lost it a little bit. Now that they've given up all these points in North Park, they got to keep their heads high, keep doing what they were doing in the first half, go back to that. And for the Vikings, it's all about putting your head down, having grit, keep fighting. They've given themselves a chance somehow to get back in this game. They can't squander it.
A crucial matchup in the CCIW. North Park would be the first team out if the tournament would begin today. Meanwhile, Wheaton would be the number 4 seed, but a couple losses there and there might mathematically put them out, but a couple of wins there and there might get Wheaton the number 2 seed.
These conference games are huge, and now that we're just about halfway through the season in the CCIW, they start to matter even more.
Going around the rest of the CCIW real quick. Elmhurst leads North Central 66-59 with 5:13 to go. Carthage leads Augustana 71-57 with 2:39 to go. And then Illinois Wesleyan leads Carroll 57-50. Almost a takeaway, and we got a jump ball.
And just Richardson with the instincts, knowing that the ball was going to the high post, leaving Vukovic. Jerome Smith, pretty solid point guard, but Richardson, he's actually the second leading stealer in the CCIW, only behind Colton Van Landingham.
Yeah, 31 steals for Soren Richardson. And his defensive effort, Soren Richardson's defense, has really improved here in this junior year.
Absolutely. He's been one of the Thunder's strongest players on defense this year.
Richardson, too much sauce, winger, skies high for it, almost loses it. Martin whips it to Vanderwood, almost another turnover, 11 to shoot. Under 6 minutes to play. Vanderwood, shot on the way, able to score.
Vanderwood hasn't been as active here in the second half. He had 19 in the first half. That's 5 for him in the second half, but a tough bucket from him.
Soren Richardson and Kyan Vanderwood each have 24. Vukovic, toilet bowls out, Cornish. Another tie-up, and it will come down to the possession arrow. North Park ball.
Cornish was upset they couldn't come down with that one. But if you're Brady Winya, you can't just jump up there and get the rebound with a guy as physical as Cornish. You got to box him out.
Jerome Smith, nice cross move. Mid-range jumper, bounces out. Martin, the fast break. Martin, the layup. Bangs it home.
That was just a well-done move by Martin with the rip-through to get the open layup.
A 7-0 run for Wheaton.
This is exactly what the Thunder need to do. Just settle down, get back to their identity that they had in the first half.
Vukovic, he'll miss the layup. Martin's wide open, here comes the layup, and he'll score, plus the foul.
And the Thunder all of a sudden have got this lead back up to 14. And just not displaying a lot of situational awareness there is Cornish. He didn't really do anything to affect the shot, but he kind of knocked Martin down after the fact.
Martin misses the free throw. Carson Greer grabs the rebound. Being fought for is a jump ball or a foul. We got 2 conflicting calls. I think it's a foul against Marquise Vance.
And technically, the official that called the foul there, that's not his call to make, but he did have a good angle, and Cornish was kind of giving Greer a bear hug there. Probably the right call.
So for Vance, he's now in foul trouble with 4 fouls. And it's Carson Greer at the free throw line. He's a 50% free throw shooter this season. But Coach Schauer talked about Carson Greer is just tapping his true potential. This is a guy who's going to be a lead in the future.
And now the momentum for the Vikings has dissipated a little bit. This is going to take a lot for them to get the lead back.
12-2 run for Wheaton in the last 2 minutes and 50 seconds. William Bates springs out.
Now the Thunder got numbers.
Martin to Vanderwood. Vanderwood. It won't go in. Vance, layup, no good.
And now the Vikings are just trying to force it, get anything possible going in offense. But it's not really working, and the energy has kind of died down as the Thunder have asserted their dominance, taking a 16-point lead now. They were leading by 23 at halftime. The Vikings came back to within 5.
Another tie-up, and this time a jump ball is going to be called. Wheaton has possession.
Both these teams playing so hard. You see all these jump balls in the last couple of minutes. They want it.
Richardson refuses to go in. Jerome Smith, the shimmy, the shot is good. Timeout taken by Coach McGee.
Jerome Smith has a nice bag. He's had some nasty crossovers this game, and there, the fadeaway. He's only 5'11", but able to create the separation there for the open jump shot.
6 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists for Jerome Smith. As we said, 3:38 left to go. And given that Wheaton has been able to get some of the momentum back, they're up by 14. When does North Park have to consider fouling?
I mean, fouling just doesn't really help them. They're down 14. They need steals, and that's exactly what the Thunder cannot let happen. No matter what happens, the Thunder cannot turn the ball over. They have to have that situational awareness, knowing that they can run down the shot clock and just hold the ball, not even attempt shooting, and that would give them a pretty good chance of winning this game just by itself. So for the Thunder here, they're just going to run their offensive possessions down to within 5 seconds of the shot clock. Don't turn the ball over. Don't make bad passes.
For North Park, after this game, they'll have 2 home games at North Park Gymnasium. Against Carroll on January 28th, and then against Carthage on January 31st. Meanwhile, for Wheaton, they have 1 more home game, part of this 3-game home stretch against Augustana on Wednesday, and then they're at Waukesha to take on the Carroll Pioneers. But if North Park cannot mount a comeback, it's basically the same story 3 consecutive times, where they trailed by 22 points at halftime, and then they trailed by as many as 28 at one point. They try to mount a comeback, but ultimately they fall short.
And that's something they're going to have to change if they want to be more competitive in the CCIW moving forward for the rest of the season.
I think Vukovic just fouled somebody. So Wheaton is going to go to the free throw line. Thunder shooting about 70% as a team, which is 7th in the CCIW. Reed Olson will be taking the shot, shooting at 83%.
Rare miss for him. He's usually one of the Thunder's better shooters.
Olson, both are no good, so Wheaton comes up empty.
The Vikings are going to need quick offensive possessions here. They can't dilly-dally. Got to go.
Bates doesn't want to take the 3. And Marquise Vance lays it in.
That's 23 for Vance off 8 of 10 shooting. He's been really efficient.
And his career high came against Greenville, 32 points in that contest, where no defense was essentially played as Greenville plays the system.
And that was a smart move by Vanderwood there, pulling out. He had numbers, could have pushed for a basket, but the Thunder know they just got to run the shot clock down right now.
Under 3 minutes to play, 10 on the shot clock for Devin Martin, guarded by Vukovic. 6 to shoot for Olson. Cornish is guarding him. Olson, the floater. Olson, it goes.
And Olson with the off-balance floater there over the much bigger Cornish. And that's a pretty key bucket.
Second field goal of the day for Reed Olson. He's at 5 points. Ja'Kai Gray, his layup is off the mark, and we got a foul in the paint.
And Cornish is just so physical down there. He probably should have got the ball. He was wide open. And he got hit by Carson Greer there, it looks like.
As we said before, Colton Van Lanningham fouled out about the middle of the second half. Dealing with foul trouble early on, which explains why he didn't play that many minutes. In fact, 5 minutes in the first half as Cornish misses the free throw.
Yeah, and you got to wonder if Van Lanningham getting in foul trouble is what's going to lose the Vikings this game. He only played 13 minutes total, like you said, Aiden. But in those 13 minutes, he scored 12 points. If he had played for longer, this would be a different ballgame.
And you wonder what his plus-minus would be. Let's look at the final stats with his impact on the court. 7 on the shot clock. Richardson draining the clock. It's Winya. 2 to shoot. Greer shoots it. Mid-range jumper rolls out. And Richardson saves it somehow. The ball is still loose. Winya fighting with it alongside Jerome Smith. What's the rolling? Jump ball.
There's 3 North Park players there. They just couldn't quite get in. Brady Winya. Gotta love the physicality for him. He's been fighting down there all night, especially against Lazario Cornish. They've been duking it out down there, and Brady Winya has just been so physical. It's exactly what the Thunders need down low.
Vikings, they trail by 14. Cornish in the paint. Cornish twirling around. The ball is loose. Stays with North Park. Are you a little surprised that North Park's just not putting up shot right away?
Yeah, well, they're trying to find a good shot, but the Thunder are making that difficult. Now they've kind of given up here. They're not going to foul.
So Wheaton survives the tsunami. That was the North Park Vikings second half comeback effort as Jerome Smith fouling Devin Martin.
Yeah, this game kind of went similar to the Elmhurst and Augustana games that North Park played. Both of those games, they're down 15 and 19 at half. They only lost by 5 points and 6 points, but couldn't quite close the deal.
Martin currently 12 points and 8 assists. Wheaton's going to pick up a much-needed win in conference play after losing to Illinois Wesleyan on Saturday as Martin misses both free throws.
Yeah, something to look out for. The Thunder only shooting 14 for 22 from the line so far tonight. And it likely won't affect the outcome, but that's something against a better team like Carthage or Illinois Wesleyan. That could lose you the ballgame.
Jerome Smith Jr. The 3 rolls out. And North Park gets the takeaway. Vukovic for 3. Buries a 3-pointer and a timeout. So 90-79, it's kind of out of reach, kind of not out of reach with 62 seconds left to go. What's the strategy for North Park?
I mean, bigger comebacks have happened, and Coach Schauer not too happy about that one. Carson Greer pulling down the rebound, but the Thunder not really providing any passing opportunities for him, and the Vikings were able to take that away. Again, it just comes down to not turning the ball over. All the biggest comebacks that I've seen in college basketball that happened in the last minute were just because the other team kept turning it over due to the defensive pressure. So all the Thunder have to do is make solid fundamental passes, and they should be fine.
And is North Park going to foul here, or are they just going to lay off and try to go for a trap?
I think they can try it once. I think if they don't get a steal in the first 5 seconds, they can try fouling, maybe hope the Thunder, whoever is shooting on the line, misses their free throws, but they're down so many points that it honestly won't really help that much.
Vikings looking to avoid a 5-game losing streak and looking to avoid falling to 3-6. Wheaton trying to get to 5-3 in CCIW play. As it looks like Carthage just defeated Augustana 75-61, so Carthage holding on to second place as of now. Vanderwood harassed, and I think he called a timeout himself. Might as well use it if you're Wheaton, because they do have some timeouts at their disposal.
And that's got to be disappointing for the Vikings. They did a quite a good job on defense of trapping Vanderwood in the corner. He was lost. He couldn't get anywhere, but bailed out with that timeout call, fortunately.
If you're North Park, should you try the same thing again, or are you trying something else?
Absolutely. And the Thunder, the one thing you don't want to do in the press is pass it into the corner, because then you're just going to get trapped immediately, and it's really hard to get it back into the middle of the floor. So obviously what the Vikings did their work. They're just going to do it again.
Wheaton's next game is home against Augustine on Wednesday. North Park's next game is also at home against Carroll. As Illinois Wesleyan just defeated Carroll 60-58.
And they got Richardson in the corner, but he was able to find someone before the trap got too pressured.
Richardson guarded by Bates. Wheaton doing a good job wasting as much clock. Here comes the trap by Vukovic and Cornish. Martin saves it. Vanderwood, 5 to shoot. Kyan Vanderwood to Carson Greer, out of bounds. Not necessarily the worst case scenario, because you just waste 28 seconds off that shot clock.
Yeah, I thought Richardson was in the open in the corner that time, but they did run off almost all of that shot clock. Now the Vikings, it's going to take a miracle.
Vukovic trying to blow by Richardson. Vukovic the layup, and it will fall for him. So Coach McGee is going to call timeout. 26.9 seconds to go.
And it looks like McGee is talking to the refs right now. He thinks there was a foul on that last play.
And if you're North Park, now what do? Do the same thing?
Yeah, they just got to go for a turnover, but they should foul immediately if they don't get a steal on the first pass, just because they only have 27 seconds to work with, and they're down 3 three-pointers.
For North Park, as we said before, they trailed by as many as 28 points at one point when they were down 55-27. That was in the first half. They had a 22-point deficit, and they cut the lead down to 5 in the second half. But it's deja vu for the third time in a row. They could not erase what was a 20-point deficit at one point in all 3 of their games, their last 3 games specifically, beginning with Elmhurst and then Augustine, and now here against Wheaton.
It's honestly really impressive how they keep managing to come back after being down huge numbers at halftime. And if they just came into the game with that same kind of energy and mentality, then they'd be a lot better off.
Richardson, the trap by Bates, as well as Marquise Vance, and now we got a foul.
And that's Carson Greer heading to the line. He's the Thunder's worst free throw shooter so far this season. See if he's able to knock these down.
Just want to give Carson Greer a quick shout out. Double-double for him, 14 points, 10 rebounds. That is his 3rd double-double of the season. Last time he had a double-double, got to go back against Elmhurst, 14 points and 12 rebounds.
Him and Brady Winya have been dogs down there, playing extremely physical, and that's what the Thunder need, because as you saw against Illinois Wesleyan, when you got guys like Noah Cleveland, you have to be physical if you want a chance.
Carson Greer knocks down the second free throw. 6 of 7 from the free throw line is Greer. 11-point lead for North Park. Vukovic dazzles, bangs it home. Back down to 9. Vikings will still play for it. The trap, and Richardson is fouled. They'll either get Marquise Vance or William Bates on the call. And for Soren Richardson, he was held to 9 points last time out against Illinois Wesleyan, the lowest scoring output this season. This is a huge bounce back performance for him. 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks for Soren Richardson.
It's really good to see him getting back in the swing of things offensively, but this is against, as we've mentioned before, the worst defensive scoring team in the CCIW. So the Thunder are still going to have to take a look at what happened in that Illinois Wesleyan game and try to fix it for next time.
Jerome Smith Jr. for 3, in and out. Vukovic fighting hard, and he tumbles down. There's also a foul.
And the crowd is booing, but the ref had to call that because he came down pretty hard, and definitely a foul.
So Mike Vukovic to the free throw line. Guy who, again, has been very impressive for North Park, given where he was at last year. Has been honored by D3Hoops.com on December 15th because of some of his excellent performances. As you said, 38 points against Alma. was his career high. Another game where North Park just doesn't have enough. As Olsen able to get it across the timeline. Devin Martin going to dribble this one out. The Thunder come away with a 94-85 victory. Here at King Arena, they will improve to 11-6, 5-3 in the CCIW for North Park, 10-8, 3-6. They have now lost 5 straight.
And you got to shout out both teams in this one. The Vikings for having the guts to fight back even though they're down 20 plus at halftime, and the Thunder for holding on, continuing to play hard, not taking that lead for granted.
As we said before, Wheaton's next game is here at Augustana on Wednesday. For North Park, their next game is also at home, this time against Carroll though. And here comes the special Coach Hour celebration. Drew Swiss and Coach Hour. This one jars.